Hi guys, how are you? It's Dr. Pam. And I decided to just release a set of videos um, just based on who I am. I've always said to you as I teach you or you spend time with me that I will always out myself before I let someone else out me. Um, and I think that most of my clients think that I've lived this amazing life and everything is just amazingly perfect. So I thought I would set the record straight with just a couple of video releases. So today is 4:20. It's 2 a.m. and it's a typical day where I can't sleep. I've worked all day and I still like to teach college full time, and I see about 10 to 12 clients a day, not taking into account the groups that I see. So by the end of the day, sometimes it's really hard for my mind to shut down. So today, I uh, it's Easter. It's Easter, and I look back and I reached out to all three of my children because being their mother was the only thing I ever wanted to be. I know that sounds silly if you see me as a professional. I was watching a video today or a YouTube channel called Trad Wives. I guess that's a new term. It's for work, stay-at-home moms. Well, I never had that option. But I truly, when I was a kid, when I was 13, 14, 15, all I wanted to do was to be the preacher's wife. I wanted to sit on their front row and wear the big hat and just be acknowledged because I was the preacher's wife. I grew up in a very traditional Southern household where it was the woman's job to make the man happy. Didn't work out, but it didn't change my image of what I thought a marriage was supposed to be. Again, good old Southern Baptist church. And I really believed, and you may surprise you, but I still believe that I want to be a traditional wife. May totally surprise you, and you can get lots of comments, but I was okay with being the submissive wife. The part that was missing is that my husband didn't love me like Christ loved the church. He worked out really well. If I loved him and he loved him, things were great. But I really did. I really wanted to be uh, I'm a first generation college graduate, but growing up in a area of the highest ranking woman was the preacher's wife. And that's really, really what I wanted to be. That's all I wanted to be. I wanted to be the first lady of the church. It's so ironic now. I've got a lot of church hurt that I'll share with you as we go along. And in my city, there's a local church where the first lady sits there, and so does the pastor's baby mama. But all of us grew up in this idyllic world, right? And whether it's we're indoctrinated by the church or indoctrinated by our parents or wherever we learn our beliefs, we all start off with those beliefs. And that's truly ever all I ever wanted to do. When I was about 13, my daddy, he's dead now. My daddy was a hoe. Thank God my family doesn't watch my videos, but he really was. He thought he was God's gift to women, and he was trying to lay hands up on everybody. At some point, my mother had enough. She just had enough. My mother worked as a maid for most of her life. She was the firstborn daughter. We can go back to Adler all day long. However, being the firstborn uh, meant that she was supposed to take care of her siblings. And that may seem strange now because Minuchin would say that's not your job. But in the time that we grew up, that was traditional. I later learned in life that many of my siblings, my aunts and uncles, had different dads. And I had an aunt that went out of her way to share with me that the person that I thought to be my grandfather was not my grandfather. Later on, DNA and me, or 23 and me, proved that to be wrong. But literally, I grew up in a house where I wanted to be the preacher's wife. God, it was God, family, and church. Oh, wait. No. My dad saw it as God, church, and family. Pretty warped sense of growing up in a very small town. And I mentioned to you, most of you, that I grew up, I'm old. So I started elementary school in 1970. So I did not grow up with a sense of peers of what happens in the African American community. I grew up with a predominantly white population, and I had many teachers who had no idea what to do with me. They had never seen anyone like me. And back in the day, the assumption was that, Black people were less than, or I must have been a really good athlete. If you watch any of my videos, especially on Crumboldt or Bandura, I talk about, I was 5'10", wearing a size 10 shoe in fifth grade, but I don't have a lick, not one lick of athletic ability. I don't know. But again, just to share some personal days, some personal things about my life. So Easter was such a big deal when my kids were little. I raised 3 kids and a husband, but there were so many traditions I just wanted to carry on. So I look back today and I talk about, I sent text to my kids about the dying Easter eggs. So it happened in my house, and I know it's not a Christian belief system. I get that. We would dye the eggs, and we would then, on Sunday morning before church, did I mention I was a kids pastor? So we had to get to church at the crack of dawn. Growing up, I was a kids pastor. So for my kids, the tradition was that we hid the eggs. They dyed the eggs, and while we went to church, the eggs were hidden, and they had to come back and find the eggs. Of course, as they got older and we changed churches, there were these major Easter egg hunts. And I had to keep my kids out of sight because they couldn't win the prizes because they had watched me pack the eggs. But I just want to share a little bit about me that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Never happened. My husband never made enough money. I wanted to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 babies. Oh, by the way, he did that, just not with me. But again, I want to share again things about me that you may not know. So I hope you continue to listen to the podcast channel as I go through thoughts and kind of reliving my life and looking back. I realize there's so many things that people don't know about me. And I just want to be very honest and very, very transparent. In watching the video on trad wives, you might want to do that hashtag trad wives. It talks about all of these people that were traditionally wanted to be traditional, especially the younger women who wanted to marry a man that would take care of them. I did want that. I really, really did. He didn't have the finances to do that, but I still wanted to be the traditional wife. I wanted to take care of him. I wanted to provide his dinner and take care of all of those things. The video, if you watch it longer, it talks about people who are 40, 50, 60 and their experience of being a trad wife. I can share my personal experience with you, that I thought I'd be married forever. I was the breadwinner in the house, by the way. My husband had lots of issues and mainly complications with diabetes, but I was the breadwinner. I was the breadwinner. And when he decided that he wanted to move out, he took what he wanted to take, and he knew that I didn't have enough self esteem to think that I could make it on my own. I'm pretty sure in one of my videos I talk about what happened is he had, again, complication of diabetes. The doctor suggested he go to a nursing home for 6 to 8 weeks. He ended up staying for 30 days. Dr. Pam wasn't quite Dr. Pam yet, but Pam, who's got a very, very high IQ, suggested that he see the hospital psychiatrist, the social worker. He told me he did. One of my children, who had a lot more common sense than I had, went to that nursing facility and said, Mama, he ain't seen nobody. I asked the nurses, I asked the doctors. He's not seen anybody. But I believed him. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did say to him after he had left for 100 days, at the end, he would not allow me to speak to the social worker. He refused to sign the informed consent. And wow. I'm going to come back to that story. Okay. That's a really long story. But again, I hope you keep turning into the podcast channel. I hope you get some memberships and really hear my story and what made me who I am. I think you'll be surprised about the many things that I will share. I think also that you will say I'm not different than most of you. Keep in touch, guys. Let's keep the story going. And remember, you are worth it. Bye, guys.